There are things in life that don't shout for your attention, but quietly drain it. Habits so subtle yet so harmful, they slowly weigh you down like a ship taking on water. These are the actions and mindsets that seem small in the moment. A bit of gossip here, a little complaint there, the passive avoidance of responsibilities, or holding on to resentment like a badge of honor. They don't come with warning labels, yet they hold you back, cloud your thinking, and quietly steal your peace of mind. The Stoics believed in the power of quiet elimination. Not every battle needs to be fought loudly. Some of the most profound transformations happen in silence. You don't have to announce that you're stepping away from gossip, complaints, or victimhood. You don't need to proclaim that you're letting go of resentment or procrastination. You simply start. You observe the habits weighing you down, and you make the quiet, deliberate choice to leave them behind. Why quietly? Because true growth doesn't seek validation. It doesn't ask for applause. Growth happens in the spaces where only you can see the work you're doing, where the focus shifts inward, where every small change compounds into something extraordinary. A life free from these quiet burdens is a life where your time is spent with intention, your energy is channeled into what truly matters, and your mind is clear, focused, and at peace. Imagine the things you could accomplish without the weight of these habits holding you back. This video isn't about quick fixes or grand gestures. It's about subtle yet powerful changes guided by the wisdom of the Stoics. Because the only way to truly master your life is to start by mastering yourself. And that means knowing what to keep and what to quietly eliminate. If you appreciate what we are doing here, do us a simple, free favor by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And do watch the video till the end to get the mindfulness needed to recognize the things you should quietly eliminate from your life, and then eliminate them. We post videos that explore Stoicism and its principles every week, sometimes multiple times a week, whenever serious consideration and thought allow it. So, hit the notification bell to never miss wisdom when it comes knocking on your door. Now let's get into it. This is real talk for tough people, the Stoic way. Don't skip it, don't rush it. Hook those earphones up and let things go. Gossiping. Gossip is a strange thing, isn't it? On the surface, it seems so harmless, even entertaining. A quick exchange about someone's life, a funny story, a shared secret. But when you take a moment to pause and reflect, you'll realize that every time you engage in gossip, you're not only avoiding the real issues you need to face in your own life, you're also diverting your focus from the one person who should matter most to you, yourself. This isn't about thinking you're the center of the universe or putting yourself above others. Stoic philosophy makes it clear you're not the most important person in the world, but you are the person you have the most power over. So, when you choose to immerse yourself in the business of others, especially in ways that are harmful or against the greater good, you're missing a vital opportunity, the chance to practice self-reflection, to deal with your own stuff, and to align your actions with reason and virtue. Gossip is a weird distraction from your own issues. It's a seductive trap, leading you to believe that by dissecting the lives of others, you're gaining some sort of insight. But the truth is, the more you focus on what other people are doing wrong, the less energy you have to look inward, to see what needs fixing in your own life. And forget about fixing. Gossiping actively unravels the positive threads you've already woven. Think about your relationships with the people you love and care about. Even if the gossip isn't directed at them, the very act of engaging in surface-level, judgmental talk plants seeds of distrust and disconnection. It erodes bonds that took time to build. And then there's the most important relationship, your relationship with yourself. Every word of gossip poisons this relationship, filling you with insecurity, envy, and negativity, dragging you further away from inner peace. So why do we gossip? Sometimes it's a shortcut to connection, a way to relate to others quickly. But here's the reality. Gossip isn't harmless fun. It's an illusion of connection that creates a cycle of distrust. It never truly brings people closer. It creates walls. When others see that you're quick to talk about someone else's missteps or misfortunes, they become wary. They keep their conversations with you on a shallow level, afraid that their deeper thoughts and experiences might end up as the topic of your next chat. You might think you're bonding, but what you're actually doing is driving others away, keeping relationships stagnant and unfulfilling. However, let's take a step back and look at why the Stoics advise against gossip. It's not just about the external damage to your reputation or relationships, though those are certainly consequences. No, the real reason lies deeper. It's that gossip takes your attention away from the only business you should truly be concerned with: your own. Epictetus offers us a shift in perspective here. Instead of focusing on the actions, flaws, or lives of others, focus on yourself daily. Cultivate self-awareness, examine your intentions, and constantly refine your character. Why waste your energy on judging or talking about others when that energy could be spent becoming a better version of yourself? Why is this emphasis on avoiding gossip so critical to Stoic teachings? Because gossip is the epitome of surface-level talk. It keeps conversations shallow, keeping you from diving into deeper, more meaningful self-reflection. And it doesn't just harm others, it weakens you. Gossip scatters your focus, fills your mind with needless distractions, and prevents you from living a life of integrity and purpose. The Stoic path is about diving deep, getting to the root of your motivations, and having conversations that elevate, not tear down. Instead of gossiping, aim to have conversations that lift others up and inspire growth. Speak with intention, with the goal of creating deeper understanding, empathy, and connection. Cultivate a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose in your speech. Master your mind and choose words that reflect who you aspire to be, not words that drag others through the mud. In the end, the Stoic approach to speech is about freedom. Freedom from petty talk, freedom from judgment, and freedom from the noise that keeps you from being the person you're meant to be. So the next time you're tempted to engage in gossip, remember that the easiest person to talk about is also the most important person to talk to, yourself. Use that time to focus on what you can control, which is your actions, your thoughts, and your growth. That is where the real power lies, and that is how you live in harmony with the Stoic sense. Complaining. Constant complaining, it's draining, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Imagine being stuck in a room with a constantly dripping faucet. The noise isn't deafening, but it's persistent. Eventually, it wears you down. Complaining is just like that drip, drip, drip of negativity. When you're always focusing on what's wrong, on what's lacking, or on what's unfair, you don't just make your life difficult, you create tension and discomfort for those around you too. It's like showing up to every situation as a dark cloud, ready to rain on whatever positivity might exist. And that negativity is contagious. People feel it, they absorb it, and they start carrying a bit of that weight themselves. Why should you care? Not because you're afraid people will avoid you, though that is often the case. You should care because constant complaining is self-destructive. It's as if every complaint is a small cut to your mental well-being, and over time, these cuts add up. And here's the truth, you're hurting yourself when you don't have to, when you can simply stop hurting yourself. When you constantly verbalize the negative, you're reinforcing it within your own mind. You're teaching your brain to only see what's wrong, training it to search for the flaws, the mistakes, the disappointments. And guess what? You'll find them every time. And it doesn't just end with you. The people closest to you, your family, your friends, your co-workers, they also feel the impact of your complaints. Maybe you think they're just words, harmless venting, but those words have power. Your negativity seeps into your interactions, and it can hurt the people you care about. And then, of course, that comes back to hurt you even more. You might find them distancing themselves, emotionally shutting down, or even beginning to mirror your complaints. It creates a vicious cycle where your negativity feeds theirs and their negativity feeds yours. Constant complaining, hence, can be better understood as a cycle of negativity, a self-perpetuating loop that can be hard to escape once you're in it. Think about it. If you constantly look for what's wrong, that's all you'll see. It's like wearing tinted glasses that block out all the color of life, leaving you with a bleak and gray world. Even the good things lose their vibrancy because your mind is primed to focus on what's missing or what's flawed. And this affects your overall mood, mindset, and ultimately your actions. It's like an echo chamber of negativity, where every complaint you make bounces back and reinforces the belief that everything is indeed bad. But let's step back for a moment. What lies beneath all this complaining? Often, constant complaining is a symptom of a deeper issue, a mask for something bigger. Maybe you feel overwhelmed, maybe life feels out of control, or perhaps you feel that you're not living up to your own standards. Complaints can become an outlet, a way to voice that inner struggle without directly facing it. But here's the thing, the more you complain, the more you amplify those feelings of stress, overwhelm, and helplessness. You're not finding a solution, you're magnifying the problem. So what's the alternative? Constantly focusing on what's wrong stops you from seeing what's right. This is where Stoic wisdom provides a powerful shift in perspective. Practice gratitude. When you focus on the good, when you take time to acknowledge even the smallest positive in your day, you start retraining your mind to see the world differently. Gratitude is the antidote to complaining. It's like switching those tinted glasses for a clear lens, suddenly allowing you to see the beauty, the kindness, the moments of joy that were always there, but had been buried under layers of negativity. It doesn't mean you ignore the challenges or pretend everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that in every situation, there are things you can appreciate, things that can make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The Stoics would remind you that while you can't control every external situation, you can control your perspective. And that means choosing to see what's right just as much, if not more, than what's wrong. And there's a ripple effect. The more you practice finding what's good, the less you feel the need to complain. Your focus shifts, your energy shifts, and soon the people around you will feel that shift too. Instead of bringing others down with complaints, you'll start lifting them up with positivity. You'll inspire them to find their own reasons to be grateful, to see the light in their own challenges. You don't just transform your own experience of life, you bring that positivity into their lives as well. So take a moment to pause when you feel the urge to complain. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this moment? Or what lesson can I learn from this situation? Practicing this simple shift can break the cycle of negativity and open you up to a world where the good is just as evident as the bad. You don't have to be a dark cloud. You can be a ray of light for yourself and for those around you. Passive aggression. Passive aggression is like emotional dodgeball, a game nobody really wins. It feels safe to lob your frustrations from behind the shield of sarcasm, subtle digs, or icy silence, thinking you're avoiding the real issue. But in reality, you're just tossing emotional grenades at those around you, and there's no way for them to understand, respond, or resolve the underlying problem. It's exhausting, not just for you, but for everyone involved. Passive aggression feels like you're hiding, but what you're actually doing is creating confusion, tension, and resentment. And here's the truth about passive aggression. It doesn't come off as clever or tactful. It just makes you look difficult, manipulative, or just straight up childish. People start to see you as someone who can't say what they really mean, and honestly, that's hard to deal with. Think about it. Who wants to navigate through hidden messages or decipher cryptic behaviors to understand how someone feels? People aren't mind readers, and they shouldn't have to be. It's not fair to expect someone else to sift through your hints, body language, and avoidance to uncover your true emotions. At its core, passive aggression is rooted in fear of vulnerability. It's the feeling that expressing how you really feel, anger, disappointment, hurt, will lead to conflict or rejection. You think that by being indirect, you're protecting yourself from potential backlash, but in reality, all you're doing is hurting your relationships and damaging trust. The Stoics offer a perspective here. If your emotions are based on flawed reasoning and errors in judgment, then so is passive aggression. It stems from a miscalculation, the idea that conflict must be avoided at all costs, that emotions should be hidden, and that your needs aren't worth openly expressing. But suppressing your feelings only intensifies them. What starts as a small irritation grows into a storm of indignation, all while you're trying to play it cool. This internal battle feeds the very fear and shame you're trying to avoid. Instead of facing the problem head-on, you're trapped in a cycle of self-protection and self-sabotage, making things worse for yourself and for the people around you. Here's the Stoic truth. It's not someone else's job to guess your feelings. It's your job to communicate them. And while it may feel risky or uncomfortable to speak openly about your needs, desires, or disappointments, remember this. Focus on what you can control. You can't control how others will respond to your honesty, but you can control your choice to be clear, direct, and true to yourself. And surprisingly, when you do this, you build stronger relationships and more meaningful connections because people appreciate authenticity even when it's difficult to hear. The Stoics would encourage you to practice letting go of your fears around being disliked or judged. Care less about caring what others say and do, about their opinions or how they might react to your honesty. It's natural to fear conflict, but avoiding it through passive aggression just adds layers of complexity to your interactions. Instead, make it a point to say what's on your mind. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, even daunting, but honesty is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And here's the beauty of leaving passive aggression behind. Things get better. When you stop playing emotional dodgeball and start engaging in real conversations, misunderstandings clear up, resentment fades, and your relationships deepen. You'll find that being upfront and vulnerable doesn't just resolve issues. It builds trust and respect. People know where they stand with you, and that kind of transparency is liberating for both you and them. So next time you feel yourself leaning into passive aggression, take a moment. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? And what do I really need to say? Remember, control your mind and choose to face your emotions directly. Practice courage, one of the Stoic virtues, by speaking up honestly even when it's hard. Don't let passive aggression rob you of deeper, more meaningful connections. It's time to stop dodging and start living with clarity and truth. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is a habit that sneaks up on us when we least expect it. It's comfortable, familiar, and, let's face it, a pretty convenient way to avoid the hard work of self-reflection. Think about it. When you adopt a victim mentality, everything that goes wrong is someone else's fault. Your boss is impossible, your partner doesn't understand you, and the world seems like it's conspiring against you. You're never at fault, never responsible, always the victim. But here's the kicker. Playing the victim is the enemy of growth, and the root of this habit lies in shirking responsibility. It's a toxic cycle. When things go wrong, it's easy to throw your hands up and say, "Why does this always happen to me?" rather than ask, "What role did I play in this, and what can I learn from it?" It's tempting because it feels safer than facing the uncomfortable truths about ourselves. However, Stoic wisdom cuts right through this illusion. By applying Stoic principles, we begin to see that playing the victim is just a cloak of perpetual doom, a way of hiding from reality, shirking responsibility, and keeping ourselves stuck in a mindset of helplessness. Stoic philosophy teaches that you must look at everything critically, but most importantly, look at yourself. It's about asking the hard questions and facing the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. When you practice the Stoic teachings, you stop viewing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the core of overcoming the victim mentality, realizing that the way you perceive challenges is entirely within your control. When you're always looking for someone to blame, you're not looking for solutions, you're not growing, you're stuck. Blaming others is easier than taking accountability, but it's a shallow relief. It keeps you from developing resilience and hinders your personal growth. The Stoics offer a perspective that radically shifts this mindset. View obstacles as opportunities. The obstacle is the way. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can this challenge make me stronger?" Stepping out of the victim role doesn't mean denying your struggles or pretending everything is fine. It means taking responsibility for your responses and focusing on what you can control. It means recognizing that your hardships are there to mold you, to test you, and to make you better. This shift in perspective is empowering. It breaks the cycle of helplessness and ushers in a new sense of control over your life. When you stop playing the victim, you don't escape life's challenges. Those will always be there. But you do change how you respond to them. You move from passivity to action, from helplessness to empowerment. It's about embracing responsibility, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, because that's where genuine growth begins. The next time you catch yourself saying, "Why me?" flip the script. Ask, "What can I learn?" or "How can I grow from this?" By taking ownership of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you break free from the constraints of victimhood. You develop resilience. You cultivate inner strength. You find that even in adversity, there's room to learn, to adapt, and to overcome. This is the power of Stoicism. It's not about making life easier. It's about making you stronger. It's about replacing the mindset of "everything is happening to me" with the mindset that everything is happening for me. You master yourself, and in doing so, you master your life. And that, in essence, is how you transform your challenges into the path forward, the way to become unshakable. Procrastination. Procrastination may seem harmless on the surface, but it's a habit that quietly, steadily erodes your potential and your peace of mind. At its core, procrastination is a habit, and like any other destructive habit, it feeds on a combination of factors: fear, misjudgment, and attachment to comfort. This combination is powerful because it tricks you into thinking you're preserving yourself when, in fact, you're only delaying what's necessary for your growth. Fear lies at the heart of procrastination. We delay because of the discomfort, difficulty, or perceived risk of failure in the task ahead. This irrational fear tells us that staying in our comfort zone is safer, convincing us that avoiding the task is preferable to the challenges we might face in confronting it. But what is this comfort? It's fleeting, a short-lived escape that only deepens our anxieties over time, ultimately holding us back from the progress we could be making. When fear governs our actions, we abandon the rational thought that should guide us, thoughts that align us with our true potential. Procrastination also distorts our sense of time. When we delay tasks, we wrongfully think we have more time than we actually do, telling ourselves that tomorrow or next week will somehow offer a better moment to act. But as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Procrastination, then, is a kind of denial of reality. It's an illusion that we'll always have a later date, a more opportune time to act, when in fact, that time may never come. The Stoics understood the importance of urgency, not as a rush to completion, but as a refusal to postpone what is virtuous and essential. When you procrastinate, you're not just delaying a task. You're delaying the chance to become a better version of yourself. Whenever we put off something important, we choose immediate comfort over the challenge that could lead to growth. Procrastination, in this sense, is an escape from acting according to reason, which dictates that we take action for the sake of progress and virtue, not just when it's convenient or easy. A significant consequence of this habit is that procrastination stops you from recognizing the power of effort and resilience over time. When we face challenges, we often underestimate our own adaptability. Hard work and consistency may seem uncomfortable at first, but experiential knowledge shows us that the more we engage with difficult tasks, the easier they become. Through practice, you grow stronger, more skilled, and more resilient. Yet, procrastination blinds you to this reality, making you believe that the difficulty you anticipate is permanent, when, in fact, it's only temporary. Procrastination also robs you of purpose. In delaying actions that align with your values and goals, you drift further from the true purpose of acting virtuously. The Stoics remind us that virtue lies in action, not avoidance. Every time we choose inaction, we distance ourselves from the discipline, courage, and wisdom that define a life of meaning. And this isn't just about completing tasks. It's about aligning our lives with reason, about striving to become individuals who face life's challenges directly, with patience and resolve. So how do we overcome procrastination? Like any bad habit, it requires a shift in perspective. Begin by understanding the source of your procrastination. Is it fear of failure, discomfort, or attachment to fleeting pleasures? When you identify the cause, remind yourself that growth comes from discomfort and that the fear you feel is only temporary. Ask yourself, am I acting out of courage or avoidance, out of reason or fear? If it's the latter, remember that courage and reason are what will help you progress, not the comfort of avoidance. Embracing the Stoic perspective also means facing time honestly. No, you don't have the time you think you do. Procrastination is an illusion that time is on your side, that there will always be another opportunity. But every moment spent delaying is a moment lost, a chance to live fully that's gone forever. Imagine each day as a chance to take action aligned with purpose, for there's no guarantee of tomorrow. This urgency isn't meant to scare us. It's meant to motivate us, to remind us of the preciousness of every moment we have to grow, to act, and to become more. Ultimately, you don't deserve the illusion of comfort that procrastination offers. True comfort comes from knowing that you're living up to your potential, that you're pursuing goals aligned with your values, and that you're ready to face life's challenges directly. So the next time procrastination creeps in, remember that reason and virtue demand action, not delay. Let go of the illusion of endless time and step into the reality that every moment is a chance to build yourself into someone better. Not taking responsibility. Responsibility is often misunderstood, especially in a world that places such heavy emphasis on outward achievement and the pursuit of external validation. Many young people are led to believe that success means working harder and accumulating more, whether it's money, status, or approval from others. But those who have mindfully progressed into adult life understand that responsibility is something much deeper, something that shapes our character and determines the kind of lives we lead. To the Stoics, true responsibility is not about relentless productivity or achievement for the sake of external reward. It's about living according to Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-discipline. In other words, responsibility is about fulfilling one's role in life with integrity, compassion, and purpose. It means asking yourself, am I working towards something meaningful, or am I simply working to feel validated? This distinction is essential because it defines whether our hard work actually enriches our lives or simply adds to a cycle of stress and emptiness. When young people are lulled into passivity, taught to view success purely in terms of wealth or approval, they lose sight of what's most important, their responsibility to themselves and others. This focus on external validation can turn hard work into a habit of mindless toil. People become so driven by the need to prove themselves that they neglect the very foundation of a fulfilling life, their relationships, their personal growth, and their ability to contribute meaningfully to society. Hard work becomes misguided when it lacks virtuous intentions and is done simply for the sake of checking boxes or earning praise. In Stoic philosophy, true responsibility means working for the right reasons, and this begins with self-reflection. Stoicism teaches that without a consistent habit of examining our goals and intentions, we risk directing our energy toward things that do not truly matter. Epictetus teaches that to live a purposeful life, we must constantly evaluate our actions, asking ourselves whether our efforts are aligned with our values. This kind of reflection is vital. Without it, we risk becoming scattered in our efforts, devoting our lives to busyness rather than fulfillment. After all, what good is hard work if it lacks a clear purpose? There's also a danger in misidentifying responsibility with hard work alone, as it can create a strong attachment to outcomes. When we define success purely by results, we start to depend on those results for our sense of worth and security. But Stoicism reminds us that peace of mind comes from focusing on what's within our control, not on outcomes, which often lie beyond our reach. Working hard becomes burdensome when we attach our self-worth to success, setting ourselves up for inevitable frustration and stress. For Stoics, the solution is to focus on the intention and integrity behind our actions, not on external measures of success. This way, responsibility becomes a commitment to doing our best, regardless of the outcome. The Stoic approach to responsibility involves recognizing that our duties extend beyond ourselves and our immediate desires. It's about being thoughtful and ethical in our contributions to society, not about contributing mindlessly or excessively just to feel accomplished. This is where the virtue of temperance or moderation comes into play. For the Stoic, working hard isn't about exhausting oneself or becoming fixated on accumulating wealth or status. It's about engaging responsibly in one's role, balancing ambition with self-restraint, and ensuring that hard work does not come at the expense of one's well-being. Responsibility, then, is about exercising self-restraint to avoid burnout and maintaining a balanced perspective to prevent becoming absorbed in trivial or material pursuits. Hard work should enhance our lives, not deplete them. And when we work with intention, we not only avoid the pitfalls of aimless productivity, but also align ourselves with a greater purpose, one that brings lasting fulfillment rather than fleeting satisfaction. In the end, true responsibility lies in the integrity of action, not in its outcomes. It's about showing up fully, doing our best with what we have, and letting go of the results. When we work with this kind of purpose, we develop the qualities that the Stoics valued most: resilience, peace of mind, and a profound sense of fulfillment that no external reward can match. This is the essence of responsibility, a habit of action and intention that shapes our character and leads us to a life of meaning and virtue. Not letting go of resentment. Resentment is a heavy burden, and it does more harm to the person carrying it than to anyone else. When you resent someone, you're handing over your peace of mind, relinquishing your inner resilience, and ultimately control over yourself. The Stoics teach us that resentment starts with inaccurate reasoning. It often begins when we misjudge a situation or perceive an injustice, allowing our emotions to take control. Our minds then latch onto these judgments, blowing them out of proportion until they become full-blown grievances that consume our thoughts. But who benefits from this? Well, surely not you. You're the one feeling unsettled, distracted, and robbed of peace. The person you resent would mostly be fine, and may even be entirely oblivious to your feelings. Marcus Aurelius would ask, "Where's your reason?" You wouldn't answer, and he'll still know. Resentment clouds our judgment, makes us impulsive, and often keeps us from confronting issues directly. For a Stoic, who is a man of character first and foremost, resentment is a failure of empathy and rationality. It contradicts his duty to empathize with others when they are in error. This might sound challenging, but consider it. People don't act out of malice or evil intentions. They act from ignorance, clouded by a lack of understanding or reasoning. Just as the Stoics remind us that people don't err on purpose, resentment serves no purpose. It's a needless anchor that weighs us down. Even when someone has wronged you, consider that they are likely acting out of their limited perspective or irrationality. This understanding can bring a great deal of peace of mind because it frees you from expecting them to be something they're not. Imagine a scenario where someone criticizes you unfairly or acts disrespectfully. Naturally, the first response might be resentment, perhaps wanting them to realize the error of their ways. But ask yourself, does holding on to this resentment make you stronger? Does it make you wiser? If anything, it pulls you away from your Stoic virtues of courage, justice, wisdom, and self-discipline. By holding on to resentment, you are effectively letting their behavior dictate your inner world, a habit that ruins not only your peace, but your character. Instead, Stoicism encourages us to see things differently. When someone behaves poorly, remember that they are doing what they think is right, no matter how misguided it may be. Even someone causing you harm thinks, in their skewed understanding, that their actions are justified. Understanding this doesn't mean condoning their actions. It means choosing a perspective that lets you focus on what you can control. You can't change their behavior, but you can practice letting go of the resentment it stirs in you. Choose to think clearly, acting in accordance with Stoic wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. This shift in perspective also allows for a more constructive approach. If someone is truly in error and open to change, then engage them with patience and empathy, as the Stoic path teaches. Don't shy away from teaching them to do better. A Stoic would approach this with kindness, correcting others when possible, but letting go when it's clear they are beyond reach. And when your guidance won't reach them, when your words can't even prick their irrationality, then you let the best teacher teach them. You let the world teach them. Life has a way of teaching lessons, even if people don't recognize it at first. Everyone, sooner or later, encounters the consequences of their actions. The Stoic trusts in this natural order of things, understanding that it's not his responsibility to make someone change. That weight is lifted the moment we realize that the world teaches everyone sooner or later. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean indifference. It means focusing on what's within your control, your own mind, your own responses, and your own sense of peace. By choosing to rise above resentment, you cultivate a growth mindset that embraces empathy over hostility and wisdom over impulse. This is how we free ourselves from the shackles of resentment, finding clarity and resilience to move forward unburdened. Criticism. The habit of criticism is one that quietly yet deeply distorts our perspective. When we look at others or ourselves through the lens of criticism, we're not simply expressing a negative opinion. We're shaping the way we see the world and the people in it. Criticism, especially when it becomes a habit, leads us down a path of labeling, simplifying, and ultimately misunderstanding. The Stoics remind us that such misunderstandings limit our capacity for self-reflection and empathy, for they prevent us from seeing things clearly and accepting the complex reality around us. We should never criticize things, we should realize things. Imagine that instead of jumping to criticize someone, you take a moment to understand the faults you perceive as a natural part of the human experience. By doing this, you begin to see these faults as common threads that connect us all. We all have weaknesses. We all make mistakes. Realizing this, rather than criticizing, creates a shift in perspective that fosters compassion instead of condemnation. Criticism leads us to label, and labels are deceptively powerful. They stick to the mind, taking root and influencing our thoughts and interactions in subtle but significant ways. When we label, we reduce people and situations to oversimplified terms, lazy, difficult, selfish, that fail to capture their full truth. These labels cloud our clarity, filling our minds with preconceived ideas and judgments that limit our ability to perceive things objectively. And with every label we attach, we distance ourselves from reality, layering assumptions over what could have been a genuine understanding. Labeling also has a dangerous side effect. It makes our perceptions rigid. When you label someone as bad or incompetent, you effectively box them into a role that resists change. Your mind clings to this label, shaping every future interaction with this person, blinding you to their growth or any positive qualities they may possess. By solidifying our perception in this way, we deny ourselves the opportunity to see people in a dynamic, evolving light. This resistance to change not only harms our relationships, but also blinds us to the circumstances and context that may explain or even justify a person's actions. So, instead of letting criticism dictate our responses, we should strive to understand reality without haste or assumptions. This approach, as the Stoics teach, brings us closer to equanimity, a calm, balanced view of the world. Rather than reacting with judgment, we learn to observe situations and people objectively, without the emotional reactions that lead to prejudice or bias. This practice of seeing without judgment cultivates a state of mental flexibility, a willingness to stay open to new information, and the ability to perceive others and ourselves as dynamic beings capable of change. And this openness is crucial when it comes to how we see ourselves. Just as we label others, we also tend to label ourselves. I'm not good enough, I'm always lazy, or I'll never succeed. These internal labels are particularly harmful because they become part of our self-perception, limiting our potential and shaping our actions. When you criticize yourself, you reduce your identity to a set of rigid beliefs about who you are, ignoring the fact that growth is always possible. Instead, realize your faults for what they are, opportunities for growth, not permanent flaws. See them as areas to work on, not reasons for self-condemnation. When you approach yourself with understanding rather than criticism, you open the door to positive change. Instead of boxing yourself in with labels, you allow yourself to see beyond your current weaknesses, recognizing that you are constantly evolving and capable of becoming better. The habit of labeling and criticizing holds us back from experiencing the world, others, and ourselves in a genuine way. When we label, we blind ourselves to the complexity of life, missing out on the chance to understand, to empathize, and to grow. But by learning to observe and understand without judgment, we begin to see things clearly, allowing for a deeper connection to reality and a more compassionate view of ourselves and others. Ultimately, the Stoic path encourages us to approach life with an open, non-judgmental mind, free from the rigid labels and criticisms that narrow our perspective. This shift in mindset enables us to engage with others and ourselves in a way that fosters growth, understanding, and equanimity. And this is the heart of Stoic wisdom: to live with clarity, to accept imperfection as a part of life, and to work on bettering ourselves without harsh judgment. If you like what we do, feel free to do more by liking and sharing the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, to the community. How, you ask? By hitting that like button as a symbol of your commitment to change, by subscribing to join a community where wisdom isn't just shared but lived, to help us create powerful stuff. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, the gentle chime of a Stoic philosopher, reminding you to return to this space of learning and growth. Each like, each subscription, each notification is a step towards a collective awakening. And if you feel that stirring in your heart a resonance with the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, share this video. That will help us immensely in continuing to create unique and powerful stuff for the community. Everything changes when you truly hear what Stoicism has been telling us all along. Everything gets better. Your self-discipline, your self-control, your temperance, your cultivation of inner peace and resilience, your self-awareness, your equanimity. You practice forgiveness more often. You stop caring what others think. You start to live with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. Even the practice of Stoic principles of the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, memento mori, amor fati, and the view from above gets easier and, more importantly, effective.